Pardon me. So, welcome. Glad you can make it. Um, for those of you in the local area, we're doing one of our potluck gatherings up in Michigan tomorrow. And then Sunday, I'm the guest speaker here in Fort Wayne at Unity. Their service is at 10:30, so you're always welcome to join for that. Unity of Fort Wayne does have a YouTube channel, so every speaker at their Sunday services is recorded and posted to Unity of Fort Wayne's YouTube. And these are recorded and posted to One by One's YouTube. So if you ever want to watch one of these or miss one, or you want to see any of the Unity talks, they're up there. You can watch them. Alrighty, so we're going to take a moment and, as I always do, start with our little candle lighting and give you a moment, if you haven't taken one yet, to kind of pause in your day and your week and give yourself at least the next hour with no external obligations, just being present with spirit. So we are not doing any readings from the Bible tonight, which is unusual, as you know. This is a collection of different, just a few different readings on the theme of simplicity. And some of you may already have very simple lives by most standards. Some of you may have very busy or complicated or cluttered or some combination of the above life. One of the appeals, I think, for those of us who do have busy lives is simplicity is kind of appealing for a number of reasons. And I think one of them is that we kind of associate it with a greater sense of carefreeness, of less obligation and responsibility, less obligatory time, less responsibilities we have to handle on an everyday basis, a greater ease of life, a greater simplicity to life, an ability to not have to engage complex things as often. So I think for that and many other reasons, I'm sure, simplicity is appealing to me, maybe to some of you also. So here we go. So simplicity, first of all, is an English word that comes from Latin, simplis, which in Latin means having a singular ingredient or being composed of one thing. It's not complex or complicated or consisting of many different things. It's a singular thing. That singular thing might be different for us, but one of the advantages to a simpler lifestyle is that whether it's true or part of our self-delusion, we generally experience simplicity as giving us a greater freedom of choice and a greater, oddly enough, and a greater freedom to just be responsive to the spirit within us as it moves us to do something. Versus I'm really moved to go take a walk right now, but I can't because I have to do the inner hour. I'm really moved to take a nap right now, but I can't because I have to work. I'm really moved to just play with my dog right now, or my cat, or my horse, or whatever. But I can't because I agreed to show up at this meeting, or I agreed to meet my friend at the gym, or whatever. or I have to pay my bills, or I have to do my dishes, or I have to. And so sometimes simplicity is alluring because of its sense of giving us a fuller ability to respond to spirit in the moment, because the moment's not already pre-obligated to something else. There's other aspects to simplicity which I'm going to talk about tonight, but I'm going to read you just a couple of quotes. The first one is from Leonardo da Vinci, one of the greatest inventors and artists of all time, and who did really extraordinarily ahead of his time inventions, ideas, and remarkable art, and also architecture and many things. So here's a quote from Leonardo da Vinci. "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." So one of the things in the world of music is that as you get better and better at music, and then become a professional, and then perhaps become a consummate professional, and perhaps even a solo artist or renowned, whatever in your field, you have to master a very complex set of fine motor skills, fine hearing, breath control, even on non-breath related instruments. Many things you have to master, and you have to be able to play very complex pieces, complex rhythms, complex melodies, complex harmonies. There's a lot of mastery of complexity to be a master musician. And for someone who's attained that status, which I've not, someone who's attained that status, you can hear them play something extraordinarily simple. And it doesn't sound like anybody else playing that simple piece. It's magic to hear them play this very uncomplicated, simple, straightforward thing. And the tonal quality and the resonance and the projection and the feeling that they manage to convey with it, and all of that, there are musical terms for all those things, are extraordinary. I remember one time hearing a really extraordinary violinist play for one of her students, "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." And it was nothing like the student played it, and nothing like really good students played it, nothing like even other professionals perhaps would have played it. There was just this absolute mastery of the instrument, and she could make whatever happened on it that she wanted to happen. Convey pathos or elation or sorrow or jubilation, or with simple notes and simple bow strokes, and that technically other people could play the very same notes in the very same rhythm and it would not convey that. So sometimes to really be able to acquire and appreciate the simplicity we want, we first have to master some very complex things in our life. The second quote is from Albert Einstein. "If you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself." Pardon me, that's from Einstein, who could think at levels I absolutely can't, could write and understand and even visualize and comprehend math at a level that I could not possibly even understand, let alone begin to visualize it, even if he explained it to me. And yet, these incredibly complex theories that he devised, and Stephen Hawking and others after him, are able to take the essence of something they've come to discover with very complicated mathematical proofs and very, very complex, multidimensional thinking and visualization, and yet explain the essence of that in words that I can understand so that I can actually get the concept of it. And they come up with ways to do that because they understand it so thoroughly. Versus somebody who themselves gets it, but they can't convey it or teach it. And perhaps you've had people like that who can, whether it's a skill like music or whether it's physics or astronomy or spirituality or metaphysics or whatever it might be, they have a in-depth, vast understanding of it, and they can't convey it. When they try to convey it to you, it sounds like gobbledygook or gibberish. You can't get it because they can't do it. They can't reduce it to a simple way to communicate it to someone who already doesn't get it. They can't do it. So there's a real gift in being able to translate, I guess, something at these very high levels, whether it's spiritually or in the worlds of science and matter, in a way that us non-scientists, non-spiritually extraordinary people can nevertheless comprehend. And then there's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson: "Nothing is more simple than greatness. To be simple is to be great." I'm going to come back to that, some aspects of that in a few minutes. And then two from Henry David Thoreau, who was close friends with Emerson. The first one from Thoreau, this is often quoted, it's from Walden, on Walden Pond, to be exact. Quote, "Our life is frittered away by detail. Simplify, simplify." Then there's one that's less often quoted from Thoreau, also a little bit longer, so I need a bit of water. "I believe in simplicity. It is astonishing, as well as sad, how many diverse, trivial affairs even the wisest of us thinks he just must attend to in a single day. And yet, perhaps the most singular affair he omits. When a mathematician seeks to solve a complex and difficult problem, he first must free the equation of all unnecessary encumbrances and reduce it to its simplest terms. It is just so with the problem of life. We must simplify it by developing the ability to distinguish the necessary and real from that which is not. So, oh yeah, sorry, one more quote. This is, I may read you the rest of this later tonight, I may not, we'll see how it goes. This is a song called "'Tis a Gift to be Simple." The original title of it was Simple Gifts, and it was created by a Shaker. They were like precursors and related to the later Quaker movement. And the Shakers were very simple people and tried to live a very simple life. In some ways like the Quakers still do, in some ways like the Amish do. I don't know of any Shaker communities that still exist. I might be mistaken about that. But you probably heard the song. But the first verse of the song is, "'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free. 'Tis a gift to come down where you ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, it will be in the valley of love and delight." And then the chorus goes like this. When true simplicity is gained, to bow or to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn and to turn will be our delight, till by turning, turning, we come round right. So maybe the rest. Those are the verses that are usually sung, and there's actually multiple verses to that song. So the idea of simplicity in terms of not so many burdens, not dealing with so many complex details, for me is a wonderful goal, and I'm ever striving to do that in my life, usually not with great success. I'm going to be striving to do that again toward the end of this year, in terms of what I'm doing next year, or hope to do next year. But so that's one aspect, is simplifying our lives, and there are many ways to do that. So this may not apply to all of you, but maybe parts of it will. Simplify your life in many ways. One, stop overburdening yourself with obligations that are not necessary. Stop overburdening yourself by saying yes to everything everybody wants of you. You're not a terrible person for refusing to do something that's asked of you. You might be a terrible person, but not because you're refusing something asked of you. When it's not for you to do, or when you simply don't have the wherewithal within you or in terms of resources to do it at the time you're asked. Also simplify your life by getting rid of the clutter that surrounds you everywhere, if you have it. If you have downsized from a 2-story house to a mobile home to a 1-bedroom apartment, chances are you're going to have some clutter because you need a lot of things and you don't have much space. So this happens. But for many of us, there's a lot of clutter in our outer lives. A lot of stuff, like there are bookshelves back there, and you notice they're full of books. That's their intended purpose. That's not clutter, actually. And plus, we've read all those books, and often refer to many of them. And when we add new ones, we sometimes have to get rid of old ones to make space. We have other books elsewhere too, but also you'll notice on top of this shelf are some just pleasant to us glass objects that we happen to like, that are decorative. They serve no purpose other than they're pretty for us to look at, which is a purpose. And so to some of you, that might be clutter, because it should be just a clean line with nothing up there. To me, that's not clutter, and it's pretty to look at, so I like it. But if there were tons of things on that shelf, like jammed full in every flat space, if this desk over here and the little credenza over there with the statue of Mary, if everything were piled high and stacked everywhere, and on the floor in piles around me, and on the desk you can't see here in front of me, clutter. If you open a closet and can't walk into it, clutter. If you look at your kitchen sink, there's no more place to stack dirty dishes or clean ones, clutter. Look in your garage, clutter. There's a lot of stuff that we don't need, don't use, perhaps haven't used in ages, but we still have it. And that's totally up to you. But I'm suggesting a way to simplify is to get rid of some of that also. Unless you really like it, and then great. Another way to simplify our life is to start working on reducing the internal clutter. All of the things that we've been told to believe, that we've taken in and accepted that we're supposed to believe them, and have never really looked at them, and whether we do believe them, or whether they help us by believing them, or inhibit us by believing them. And the range of these things varies dramatically. You have probably been told a number of things in your spiritual journey. You've probably been told that there's only one life, this one, and then eternal heaven or hell afterwards. And that the criteria for where you end up eternally afterwards is whether or not you confess your belief in Jesus as your Savior or not. Probably at some point you've heard that and been told to believe it. Maybe you've been told that that's all nonsense and Jesus is nobody, and that's not true, and none of it matters, and you shouldn't pay any attention to it. And you should believe that. Maybe you've been told that what you need to find is a living master, a teacher that is spiritually one with God, divinely connected, perfected in some way beyond the rest of us, whatever, and that you should find such a teacher, and that teacher will take care of everything for you, and that you don't have to figure out anything anymore, that they'll just do it for you. Maybe you've been told that, and that you should believe that. Maybe somebody has taught you a meditation technique or a set of spiritual values or whatever, and it's like, this is the highest truth. This is the supreme. This is the highest you can go. This is the ultimate, and you should believe that it is. Maybe you've been told that there's no God at all, and that all of us who think so are deluded, and it's just wishful thinking on our part, and there's lots of reasons to not believe in one, like the Holocaust and the terrible October 7th massacres and the awful things that are going on in the world. So how can there be a loving God? You've been told lots of things spiritually. Are any of them true? Including by me, I've told you a lot of things. Is any of that true? What's true? Are you believing things and holding them almost in your unconscious now, but still affecting the way you feel and think about the world, but you've never even examined them and may not even know what they are? And what if they're not true? And what if believing them is a huge impediment in you getting what you want and finding what you're seeking and having the fulfilling life that you want? So I'm suggesting we look at those things, and if we find beliefs that we don't believe anymore, get the clutter out. Set that one aside because it's taken up useful space that could be there for something else. You've been told many things to believe socially from the time you were little. You fit in, you're the popular kid, everybody loves you, we all want to hang around you. You're the unpopular kid, you're a weirdo, nobody wants to be around you. We've been told those things, one or the other or both, at different times. And have we believed them? Are they true? Is that part of the clutter we're carrying around inside that we could simplify? We've been told you're no good at math, you're a terrible dancer, you can't sing, you should never sing, you're a beautiful singer, you should sing all the time. All these things that we're told are things other people have believed that they want us to believe. But are they true, and do you want to believe them? And will they help you if you do? We're being told right now, no matter where you stand in the political arena, and this won't be a political talk, but no matter where you stand, you're being told lots of things by both sides that they believe that they want you to believe. And they're making you lots of promises, both sides, in all races. Are you believing it because they're telling it to you? Are you disbelieving it because you don't like the one who's telling it to you? The fact that you don't like somebody doesn't mean they can't be telling you the truth. The fact that you do like somebody doesn't mean they are telling you the truth. So, have we looked at those things? Are we being manipulated into believing what other people want us to believe? At any level, politically, socially, spiritually, whatever. How much of our life, inside, are we carrying around the stuff other people have put into us saying, this is what you need to believe, and this is what you need to do? And do we? Is it real? Do we believe it? Is it helpful to us? And if we're finding in any of those areas that we're not sure, then look at it and decide. And then eliminate clutter if it is clutter. And hold on to the things that are genuine and you know to be true and really work for you. But do not be afraid to walk away from the ones that aren't or that don't work for you. Even if they work for somebody right next to you. Okay, then it does. But if it doesn't for you, it doesn't for you. So that's part of simplifying. And getting to the essence of things is another way of simplifying. Forms are vast, varied, and infinite. Forms of love, forms of thought, forms of belief, forms of life. The essence is simple. The essence of making music, whether it's with voice or instruments, is we create vibrations and we project those vibrations out into the world around us. That's the essence of music. And we project those vibrations in certain pitches, in certain repetitive patterns, and in certain rhythms. That's music. But the effects of music, the ways music can be made, the number of instruments it can be made upon, the various techniques needed to make music on those various instruments, very complex. Lots of forms, lots of instruments. The essence is simple. The essence of life is simple. The complexities of life and trying to figure it out, to navigate it, to fix it, to make it adhere to the way we want it, very complicated. More clutter. Another aspect of simplicity, which is almost never talked about, and again, may only relate to one or two of you, may not relate to any of you, relates to me, so hopefully it will relate to you. Another aspect of simplicity, which is almost never seen as simplicity, being your genuine self is simple. It is, it's simple. My dog, whom some of you know, your dog, your cat, if you have pets, animals in general, especially domesticated, well, animals in general, we'll talk about domesticated ones. My dog, whom I love dearly, does not have the brain capacity I do, does not have the intellectual capacity I do, does not have the depth of perception or understanding of life that I do. Many things he can't understand, like why he can't eat a whole pizza, or why, whatever. Something he wants to do, he can't understand why he can't. What he's not confused about, he's always him. He's always Rafi. Whoever he's with, wherever he is, that's him. Take it or leave it, like it or not like it. What you see is what you get. That's him. He never puts on airs, not ever. Never ever pretends to be something he isn't. Never tries to convince you he's a cat. Never tries to convince you he's a chihuahua. Never does that. Never thinks, gee, I should be a chihuahua. Nope, never confused about that. Never thinks, I might be a Great Dane. Nope, not confused about that. Knows who he likes, which is almost everybody, knows who he doesn't, knows who's friendly and pleasant to him, knows who isn't. Doesn't pretend that the person who's being unfriendly to him has deep, dark, troubled issues and a bad past, and so we should make allowances for that and pretend they're treating us nice when they're actually being horrible to us. Doesn't do any of that. Just is who he is. Simple. We get caught up through the faculty of ego, which is not all bad. It impels us to do many things we'd probably be too lazy to do or too disinterested to do otherwise. But there's a facet of ego which compels us to adopt identities that are not genuine so that we appear in ways we believe will be more appealing to other people and will therefore be more likely to have other people like us and want to be around us and care about us. So we adopt these other modes of personality. To a Democrat, I'm going to be a Democrat so they like me. To a Republican, I'm going to be a Republican so they like me. To a guy who meditates, I'm going to think meditation is valuable. To somebody who thinks it's all Jesus, I'm going to, yay Jesus. To, whatever it is, I'm going to try to adapt how I present myself so that people like me because I want to be liked. And that's a genuine desire. That's not an illusion. We have, as human beings, the need for each other. That means we have the need to be accepted. We have the need to be part of a community. We can't survive. What people always say in the old days, when mankind was younger and evolving, they needed each other. They needed tribes. They needed communities to survive. As if we don't now. We need them at least as much now as we did before. How long would you survive without the technology that's available to you in your life right now? With no electricity, no plumbing, no water, no heat, no air conditioning, no communication methods, no food except what you grew, no clothes except what you made, no water except what you could find. How long would you survive? So we're dependent on these communities of one another and infrastructure. Still, we are. So we need to belong. We need to be, and that's just physically. Emotionally, we need to belong because we need to be cared about. We need to be important to somebody. We all need it. And God bless those of us, and be grateful if you're one of them, who have people you are genuinely important to, whether it's a spouse, a friend, child, grandchild, a neighbor, an employee, employer, anybody. Be grateful if you have people in your life that you matter to, because the truth is, not everybody does. And we all need that. So if we don't have it, or don't feel we have enough of it, or don't feel that we're secure in it, we go out of our way to try to get attention. And we can do that in terms of trying to impress people with who we are, or we can do that by trying to impress people with how unspecial we are, how victim we are, how poor me we are, how I should deserve special treatment. And if you don't give me special treatment, I'll act so pitiful and emotionally manipulate you that you will, because I need your attention that much. And so this, believe it or not, is all part of living a simple life. Those simple things, we need to begin to clear out those clutters. If we need to be accepted and cared about by others, the primary action to take, no matter what you're feeling, no matter what you want emotionally, if you're feeling that need for greater, to matter more to somebody, to be important to them, instead of trying to make yourself special and unique and I have these gifts that you don't, or instead of making yourself such a pitiable victim that everybody has to take care of you and do the things that you will not do for yourself, instead of doing either one of those, if you're feeling that need, stop fixating on you and start doing something for somebody else without your benefit in mind. Start offering to help somebody else. Start offering to listen to somebody else. Start offering to accompany somebody else. Start offering somebody else a ride. Start offering somebody else a meal. Start inviting somebody else to your home. Start doing something for your community. When we begin to shift the focus, we can begin to stop some of those pretenses. And it's just you, however you are, reaching out to someone. That's genuine. We don't need all the pretenses. And that connection is important, and we're going to seek it however we seek it. But there are simple and direct and honest ways to seek it without all the game playing, without trying to convince ourselves we're something more special than we are. Ooh, look at me, I can do this and you can't. Or you should feel sorry for me because look how alone, how incompetent, how scared, how abandoned, how mistreated, how whatever it is, the poor me thing. We all have plenty of those. We could go down this list of people present tonight, and every single one of you, I'm sure, could tell us something about you that we should feel sorry for because you're dealing with stuff. We all are. You have health issues, you have financial issues, you have relationship issues, you have whatever issues you have. We got them. We all have them. And we all have special and unique gifts and talents. If I can play guitar and you can't, I'm not better than you. I can play guitar and you can't. If you're a whiz at stock investments and I'm terrible at it, you're not better than me. You have a skill I don't have. And we can learn from one another as opposed to trying to impress each other or acting, like we're unworthy of one another. All of that is just clutter. So if we want a simpler life, let's start eliminating not just the outer clutter in our life, but some of the beliefs that have been programmed into us that we have accepted without question. This teacher is telling me the truth, that one isn't. This Jesus is important, Jesus is not important. This candidate's the best one, that candidate's the worst one. There's no shortage of opinion and people telling you what to think. But when will you think? Are you thinking? Are you looking at what you're holding in your consciousness all the time that takes up a lot of energy and a lot of space? And as you begin to clear some of that inner clutter out, besides feeling like you can breathe again and a greater sense of fullness and opportunity in your life, because you're not burdened by all that, you're going to also feel a great surge of energy because you're not carrying all of this stuff that you don't even want or believe or care about, but it's in there. And so, and sometimes it's in there in a way that we feel like we're being bad people if we cast it out, or something we used to believe we don't anymore, that something's wrong with that, or that we no longer fit with this group or that group, and we're not just going to toe the party line, whether it's a party line socially or politically or spiritually or any other arena. That you're just going to simply be you and look at what is real to you. Do your best to seek that out and find it. When you find it, hold on to it. And things that get in the way of that, just set them aside. And live a genuine life. However simple, however unnoticed, however important or unimportant your unique individual life seems to be, it matters to God. And it matters to all the rest of us, because every one of us is a piece of this giant puzzle of life. And we all do fit. It may be that you've been trying to fit in the wrong place, but you do fit. And you are already loved beyond what you would even imagine. So, last piece we'll go into meditation is, here's a guideline that I'm going to try to follow in the coming months and year, that I'm offering for consideration. The people that you know who bring you the most peace and joy are the people you should be spending most of your time with. And if you're not, simplify your life so that you can. So, all right, let's just close our eyes and begin to move inside. And even this action of moving inside, you've been taught how to do it, what it means. Just set that aside for a moment. What happens to you when you go inside? What is that? What's your experience of bringing your attention inside? And is it comfortable inside? Do you feel at home there? Do you feel connected there? Do you notice things when you do go inside that you wish weren't there? Maybe negative thoughts about yourself, maybe anxieties, maybe pain, maybe anger. If there are things that you do not want in wherever you go that we're calling inside, then walk away from them inside. That's all. Turn your attention to something else. Don't try to fight with them. Don't try to control them and push them out. Don't be upset that they're there. Just see them as being there and literally turn your attention to something else inside. Stop looking at the weed. Start looking at the flower. Weeds and flowers come and go, and almost always together. Look at the flower, not the weed. Look at the part of you inside that is already content, or at least that knows what it would be to be content. And be with that part. Look at the part of you when you go inside that feels a kind of relief or release from your burdens and obligations in the world. Look at that sense of release and relief within you, and the buoyancy of spirit that letting go brings. Look at the part of you that loves something, someone, God, some animal, nature, being alive. The part of you that loves. Look at that when you go within. It's an amazing ability to love and to recognize love and to open to love. Look at the part of you that knows that. And look as deeply as you can into the very core of who you are, of your being. And look for that simple essence that you are life aware, aware of life, and life being aware of itself. Life aware. And if you notice any complexity of thought starting to form around all this, look away from it. Look to that simple essence at your very core. You don't even have to name it. Just look at it. A simple essence at your very center. And whatever else draws upon your attention, look away from it, back to this simple essence. So let's just begin to bring our attention back once more. So, if you haven't heard that song before or haven't thought of it in a long time, you can look it up online. All the verses are there. I'm going to read you one verse that you don't probably normally hear sung, and that is, "'Tis the gift to have friends and a true friend to be. 'Tis the gift to think of others and not only to think of me. And when we hear what others really think and really feel, then we'll all live together in a love that is real." So I thought that was a kind of an appropriate verse for tonight. And I want to, I think I say this fairly often, but I just want to say again, it's it's very, I'm very grateful, and it's very meaningful to me to have you present with me and share these inner hours, and so many other things that many of you share with the one by one community of things that we're doing. So it's really meaningful to me. Hopefully, it's meaningful to you. And I know that that some of you are farther away. I'll see if anybody's here. Yeah, some of you who are farther away are online tonight. And I know Anna is with us for a short time, still in the area, and then is departing again for farther away regions. So we wish her well on those when those travels come. Really nice having people that used to be here and then moved away to come back for a while. It'd be nice to have them here permanently again, but always lovely to have those of you who used to be part of the Midwest community but still stay in touch with us or others here. Such a treat. So I guess it's that time. May this be a week of greater simplicity for you if that's what you seek. May that simplicity not only be in our outer lives, simplifying the number of things we do and our responsibilities and how we look at them, but simplifying what goes on inside us and what we carry so much inside that, oddly enough, we choose to carry but works against us. So may we begin to free ourselves to greater inner and outer simplicity and live more genuine lives with one another, and be willing to let everyone do that. So thank you for your kind attention and support and love, and I hope you feel it coming back to you from us. So I'm going to end the recording, say goodnight, see some of you this weekend, hopefully the rest of you next Friday. All right, God bless.